Good evening and salutations, my B&B fans. This was a weird episode, I would sit there and say, in the sense of nothing really went on, like nothing really happened, but there were subtle things that if you missed it, you're kind of clueless. I'm pretty sure they're going to reveal it down the line, but there's a couple of times where Jack is not there talking to Poppy, and he's like, "Well, something along the lines of, listen, she was wrong about us being together, and this whole thing could just be put behind us or something like that." Poppy has this look on her face, and then the look on her face, from my interpretation, is that this is not over. Okay, yes, she realized, she found out that you and Jack were, bumping and grinding, but the look on your face meaning that you still did something that's going to blow up, that you're worried about your sister finding out. And the same thing with Finn. After Lee tells Finn about the paternity test and everything like that, and also sat there and said that um, Tom Star isn't her isn't Luna's father. She's like, but the question is, who is Luna's father? I mean, there's so many men and da 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 da. And he has this look in his face, like he's worried about something or he's thinking about something, and it's all hinting towards Poppy and Luna. I mean, Poppy, Finn sleeping with Poppy. They weren't blood, you know, and creating Luna. That's the vibes that it's they're giving me. Um, and the thing is with Lee, she felt worse that it was coming from Poppy than it was from Sheila. Because that's her sister, and she also was like, "Well, damn, Jack. I mean, you disrespecting me. That's taking it to a whole new level when it's my own damn sister, my own little sister." So she was happy about that, and she did apologize and stuff like that. And you know what? Jack is like, he was annoyed and upset about that. Part of me was like, bro, you still did wind up cheating. It's not exactly oh god, I won for the day. It's like you still did like do a dirty, right? And see, that's the thing though, right? I feel there's a point, and I said this maybe a couple years ago, and people were sitting there saying, "Oh, well, you're blaming Lee for the end of her marriage. You're blaming Lee for being cheated on." And I'm like, granted, no. Listen, because there's all sorts of other ways you can go about ending a marriage and not being happy other than cheating, right? So while she wasn't there, being a doctor and everything like that, and working her ass off, he was out being with Sheila. Part of me will sit there and look at that and be like, well, the cheating was definitely on him, and you was doing your thing and everything like that. You also weren't being a good wife. You weren't being a good wife. I mean, yeah, marriage is also sacrifice, and hey, listen, there's times where you can't necessarily be a good wife, and you have to sit there and be the breadwinner. It's the same thing with a husband. How many times have you seen those stories when the woman steps out and then she sits there and says, well, you weren't paying attention to me, you weren't home there, you weren't there for me, right? And how often do some women sit there and say, well, it doesn't make it right, but I understand where she's coming from. But when a guy does it, like Jack, he stepped out. You sit there and call him a dog, right? You mostly call him a dog and be like, I can't believe you did that to that very strong woman. When a guy's going out there and busting his ass, the first thing you sit there and say is, You neglected her. So while I'm not gonna sit there and say like, it's her fault, no one deserves to be cheated on, but like the dissolvement of your marriage, that's on Lee. I mean, it's on Finn as well. I mean, it's on Jack as well because I mean, you should have stuck it out. But I'm not gonna sit there and try to act like she was blameless in that. She put a career and everything like that before her marriage. So when you do stuff like that, that's the result sometimes. It's unfortunate, but you know. Now the stuff with Steffi and Rich and Taylor were kind of stupid because all they kept sitting there doing was just like talking about Finn's parents and how Lee is a mean sister to Poppy and says some really terrible things and just very hardcore and stuff. And it was like, is this a thing with you, Steffi? When you're not sitting there obsessing over your own parents, you're sitting there talking about your husband's parents at this point, and maybe they can get back together. Like, what are we doing? It seems like so much of a waste of a scene. That it's like I would have just rather have just been Poppy, Jack and Sheila and Lee and Finn, than just throwing them in there just for the sake of throwing them in there. Also, is their anniversary or whatever. Steffi and Finn or I think so. It might have been Taylor and Rich too at some point. I don't know. Speaking of Sheila, she just comes over and she's talking for a little bit, and then she's like, "Oh, I thought that Finn was gonna be there." And Jack says something along the lines of like, "Well, it's a good thing he's not here because he doesn't need to sit there and see you or something." And of course, Sheila starts going back with that obsession a little bit, and she's like, "Oh, well, just because you manipulated me into letting um Lee raised a child that was mine for so many years. I missed out." I was like, Sheila, are we really doing this? And I get it, right? Because it's a history lesson, and you know, I mean, people could just use Google, but for some reason, we gotta do this because this just makes sense. Um, yeah, sometimes, but she just was like, just tell him that I miss him, and da da da. I was like, okay, yeah, we'll make sure to. Don't you have other kids? I'm sorry. I know that Bold and the Beautiful loves to act like Sheila only has one child, but like the people that watch this show know that she has more than one child. I don't really understand what we have to do this for. And of course, like I said, it gets back to that point where Jack is talking to Poppy, and Poppy has that look on her face like she's still hiding something. Um, I think at some point, maybe Luna's gonna find out that Lee ran the paternity test and is not Tom Star. And then she could be like, "Oh my goodness, I'm so happy that that loser, that washed up bum, was not my daddy." I mean, I still feel bad that I unalived him, but it's good that I'm not part of that gene pool. Uh, anyway, that's much all I got. If I missed anything, write in the comment section below. Not doing a live stream tonight, but I will be back tomorrow, usual time. You know how we do. I just feel like here's the thing, and just for future whatever. Um, Mondays is hard to stream because I still do have to wake up super early. And one, it's also I just like to have one day off, and it's easier to stream. Easier to have that one day off on today, stream tomorrow, and then usually Wednesdays I have off. Um, so yeah. Anyway, I have a couple ideas that I did talk about the membership, so we'll after I get the fine tuning, after I do one video, and I'll sit there and talk about it a little bit more. But anyway, I'll sit there and see you next stream and next video. Laters.